56 days in a row, and we're doing something, you know, taking it up a notch, kicking it up a notch, as Emerald used to say, and we're going to be doing both ranges today. So, of course, I have Poker Tracker 4 open right in front of you here, and yesterday we hand read a hand from Home Tiger, but let's go ahead and let's just stick with Home Tiger. That was a pretty interesting hand. Didn't really like the way he played, so let's see if we can find a different hand where he plays things a little differently. Oh, and since we're doing both ranges today, we might want to look for hands with action from both sides, bets and raises from both different players. So nothing here so far. Big blind, lots of hands here. Check call, then a check raise, but a check on the river. I want to see some kind of like betting or checking kind of action, you know, on the river. Check and just all calling there, so just passive play. Probably removes the toppest parts of home Tiger's range here. Interesting. Call, bet. So a little bit of passivity pre and on the flop, and then some aggression on the turn and river. Let's go ahead, take a look at this hand here. And as always, we've got our split suit template, which unfortunately didn't open, but that's fine. Here it is now. And as you can see, you can get split suits templates from splitsuit.com/templates. Hand number 88294060. Don't know the date right here. Home Tiger 24 Hero. Then we'll take some notes in a sec. Don't know who the opponent's going to be. I'm under the gun on this table. But before we whip that out, we've got to make sure that we have our two Flopzilla tables open. Home Tiger's range will be up top. The opponent, whoever that ends up being, will be down on the bottom right here. And because we're working out of two ranges, we've got Hold EQ open up. So all the windows are tied. We've got this up and running. Let's move this down so everything is clickable. I know it's a lot of windows, but it's kind of what happens, the way it is when you are hand reading. And then we got our hand at the bottom there. Great. So let's start the action. So we didn't open the pot. Let's see what we folded here. 8-3. I do not blame myself at all for folding that. So it looks like we're going to have a small blind V BB action. Small blind comes in for a raise. Unknown player with only 7 hands. So we're going to give him kind of a wider range. Not kind of, definitely a wider range. He's unknown. It's the small blind. We don't know what he knows about Home Tiger either. We could see that over 900 hands, Home Tiger is a loose, aggressive player. He might not know that, only 7 hands. These might be the only 7 hands he's ever played with Home Tiger. Who knows? So, Home Tiger Hero in BB just calls unknown players small blind open raise. Cool. So let's start first with an unknown player. This is from our perspective, of course. Who knows what he thinks Old Matt has? But from our perspective, unknown, what is he raising with right here? Maybe the 6-4 is in it. Let's give him kind of a wider range, 30%. We'll just start with this. Let's put every ace in his range, offsuit and suited, of course. We can go as far down. Let's do some King 7 suited stuff. Let's give him the 9-8, maybe not the 8-7. No, let's put 8-7 in the range. Yeah, let's keep it in right there. 10-7. We could actually put all the suited kings in his range as well. I mean, it's a small blind open. He is an unknown player. 40% range. We can at least start him with this. We could probably, based on his actions on the flop, we could probably narrow it down quite a bit. But let's, yeah, do I really want to put the suited kings? Oftentimes those get limped in instead. Let's just go King 7 suited. Let's not go down that far. 7-5, 6-5 sounds good. Not 8-5, not 9-6. Although people like the 69. Yeah, we'll put the 69 suited in. Just for fun, we'll probably remove it at some point. But I think this is a pretty decent range, at least to start with, on an unknown. Give him a wider small blind range. Because a lot of players in these micro stakes game, they really do. Like you can see, this is a tag, another lag, and another lag here. This is probably not a good table for me to be sitting at. It's only been 4 hands at this table. Just sat down, realizing that I've got such strong players at this table. I'm hoping when I actually played this hand that I got out of this table. Because really, you don't need to be fighting fire with fire. I could tighten up big time and just try to play super value ranges versus these guys. But when you have regs at your tables, 1, 2, 3 of them, it's not the best of tables to be at. So we are going to give him this rather wider range, 39%, 510 combos. Wait, does that remove combos from his range? 5, 10, 39, no. Whoops. 39%, 510 combos. I like that. So what is our opponent, not our opponent, our hero just calling with? We could see that he 3-bets 6% overall. In the big blind, he's 3-betting 7%. So we can definitely remove quite a few of these better hands. Like, we'll take all of those along with these out of his range, out of his calling range, because most likely he's 3-betting with these. We can go with something like this. I mean, we can even go down as far as ace, jack, and king, queen. Take those out. Might keep the king, queen suited in, actually. So let's take a look at a calling range for Home Tiger. Let's go a little wide, 26%. Let's take 9s out. Well, no, let's keep them in his calling range. He could 3-bet them. I think 10s are a definite cutoff. Like, 10s are better. He's definitely 3-betting. The ace, queens, the ace, jack. You know, I don't mind at all keeping the king, queen in as a calling range. Suited kings, suited aces. He is in position after all. Maybe even all these offsuit aces. And, of course, he might be doing semi-bluffing with a lot of aces. I don't exactly know that he's always semi-bluffing with ace-5 or ace-4 or 8-9 or 8-7. So I've got to at least keep them in his calling range because he could very well call sometimes with those. 3-betting here, 3-betting there. Calling the 5-4 suited, sure. Calling the 7-5. 9s are worse. Offsuit 9s. The rest of the broadways that he's not 3-betting, he's calling. Offsuit aces. Suited aces. Yeah, I think he can call. None of those are automatic 3-bet hands, so I've got to put them in the calling range. I think I like this. 33%, 436 combo, so a bit less than the open raiser. And a bit weaker, too, because we took out all of the strongest hands. 30, I don't remember. 33%, 436. Great. So when we look at these two ranges that we have set for our opponents here, we're looking at a hero's equity. Oh, whoops. They're not tied in anymore. Okay, there we go. Now that's tied in. Cool. Now the two Flopzilla ranges are tied into Hold EQ. You can see that our opponent's range, while it is more narrow, it is missing all of the 10s or greater and the ace king and ace queen. So it does make their range a bit weaker, not big time, but a bit weaker than the opponent's, than the open raiser's range. Great. So SB range, and then any notes that we make as we hand read. Perfect. So queen, 10, deuce, heart, club, diamond. Okay, so rainbow flop, not the wettest of boards. Sure, there's some open-enders, gut shots available. Plenty of pairs because, as you can see, both of our opponents are playing all their broadways, other than, of course, the 3-betting ones, or hands that he would have 3-bet here. So on the queen, 10, deuce, let's see here. Our hero has 47% equity, so roughly the same as it was pre-flop. Queen of hearts, 10 of clubs, deuce of something. Diamonds? Deuce of diamonds. We have 47. Our opponent has 53% equity. Let's see what happens. We don't know anything about their c-betting. Only 7 hands. We haven't seen any c-bets at all yet. First c-bet, 5/6 of the pot. Pretty decent sizing right there. Possibly just trying to make a flop bluff is what I'm going to pretty much target this as. He could be going for value. He could have a set of queens or 10s. So we will keep those in his range as well. But then the turn action will probably allow us to narrow it down even further. And then just a call. Okay, so what is our opponent making a c-bet? Now, as we know, people c-bet their bluffs all the time. They c-bet their ace highs. They c-bet their open-enders and their gutters. They c-bet their underpairs. He's c-betting 8s and 9s here as well. So there's plenty of stuff that he's c-bet bluffing. He could be going for value with a set. For sure, deuces, 10s, or queens. Going for value 2-pair, overpair, top pair going for value, pocket pair below top. Oh, totally. Those are betting. Backdoor straight draw. If your opponent didn't hit a queen and you don't put kings or aces, you currently have the best hand if they didn't hit a queen. So those are in his c-betting range right there. Mid pairs now. All those random weaker 10s. Oftentimes, you will see them throwing out at least that initial bet, hoping their opponent doesn't have a queen and just folds any kind of possible draws and overcards. So I can, because he's still an unknown, I mean, we've got to put those in his range as, we've got to put those in his range as well. Weak pairs. I think those can at least throw out the 1-street bet. Oftentimes, if they're bluffing with weaker pairs, it'll be just $1 or even 75 cents half pot. We don't know what he's capable of. It's possible he's betting bigger with weak pairs. Ace highs now. Once again, if he could be betting if he could be betting weak pairs this way, he could be betting his ace highs just as a cbet bluff right here. It's 82%. It's quite a wide range. No made hands. We're going to take those out, or leave them out. Open enders totally betting here. Gut shots. They have unders. Okay, so let's remove some of these gut shots at least. Actually, you know, all of the gut shots, let me take a look at them. Ace king, ace jack. Actually, yeah. Let's keep some of them because I want to make sure. Well, ace king is an ace high. It's already included. I don't think it's necessary, and I don't want to put any of these gut shots in his C betting range. A lot of them, as you can see, ace king, ace jack, they're in the ace high hands that we put. So there's really no need. I can't say that all of these are absolutely betting, so let's leave the gut shots, although they are included under other ones. Overcards included under the aces. 2-card, don't worry about that. Open ender, gut shot plus, nah, don't worry. So we're going to say it's quite a wide C betting range at 82% right here. But it is just the first bet. His turn action will determine whether or not he's still going for value or probably bluffing. Or possibly bluffing. Yep, so let's go with this range right here. 82% and 371 hands. So we've removed 18% of his range. Okay. Now, on this board, what is our hero just calling with? He could be raising for value, but he's choosing to call instead. Full stack behind, right? So he wants to, if he hit a set of deuces, I guess is the only set he could have, but he could have queen 10 2-pair. If he wants value right here, he should be raising to try to get the full stack in versus this out of position player. So I am going to take the strongest parts of his range out because he just called with such a big stack behind on this relatively dry board. It's not like he's scared of, it's not like a monotone board, or it's not like that deuce is actually like a jack to make it even scarier for him, So, set of deuces, gotta be raising here. Set's gotta be raising. There's no way he's just checking, calling those. 2-pair time, queen 10. I really think he's raising here, going for value in position versus a wide small blind range. I really think that's the case. Yeah. Pocket pairs. Oh, doesn't have any. Mid pairs now. All those random 10s. Yeah, totally. The opponent doesn't have to have, like we just saw, we kept an 85% range for him c-betting here. So he doesn't have to have any queens or kings or aces in his range. He's got plenty of stuff that the current second pair or middle pair hands beat. So we'll put those in his range, middle pairs. Weak pairs calling. Oh, just those weak deuces? Nah, it's a good size bet. It's a really good size. It's 5 big blinds into a 6 big blind pot. I think weak pairs are folding. Ace highs at this point. They do have the overcard. Ace highs. Ace highs, are they in? They're not included. No, ace highs would be included with some of this other stuff here. Okay, so let's look at these. No, not weak pairs. Those are folding. Ace highs. If weak pairs are folding, ace highs are folding, right? Yeah, so let's take those. Let's take those out of the range too. Some of them will be included, like gut shots or like 2-card backdoor. Oh, maybe not those, but yeah. Let's keep these out of the range. Let's say he's basically calling with some kind of equity here. He's not calling with just a tiny pair of deuces or even the ace high hands, but he could be calling with an open ender. Jack 9, king, jack. Yep, totally. He could be calling with gut shots. King 9, jack 8, 9, 8, king 9, ace, jack. Yeah, sure. Why not? Calling with those gut shots. I'm good with that. The overcards doesn't have any. 2-card back. I don't want to say he's calling with 2-card backdoors on this board versus that size bet. Let's give him a little bit more equity with better draws right here. Yeah. So we were able to, I'm going to stick with this range for him. 40% of his pre-flop range, 158 combos. So you can see we removed 60% of his range based on just this weak call. He's throwing out all of his complete whiffs, his hands with his almost zero equity, not almost zero, but very low equity. And we can also remove his nutted hands because he's not raising right here when he should. I mean, this player is showing a large bet, means he's probably really liking the board, or throwing out, like, you know, an expensive bluff. And either way, I think with his strongest hands, he should be raising. So now that we've filtered them down to these hands, Hold EQ says that now our hero has 55% equity. Because he's bluffing with such a wide range, our smaller calling range of the hero, look at that. Look how much we dropped his range. Or how much we narrowed his range. Yeah, things are looking great for the hero right now. 55% equity. No wonder he starts betting on the turn. Let's see what happens. 4 of Spaderinos and old Matt checks. So on the 4 of spades, let's enter that in. So as you can see, that 4 of spades did not help our hero at all. His equity went from 55% down to 50%. So it's break even. It's a horse race, 50-50. Who's going to win? Maybe the person that's the most aggressive. At this point, 50-50. So the 4 of spades made things fitty-fitty, baby. Actually, I'm going to say 50.5 and 49.5 just to show that the hero is slightly ahead in this point. I guess it's 51, we can say. Dang it. Cool. So what happens? He just decides to check right here. Check, and then $1.50. What a minuscule bet. And then what happens? He just calls, right? He just calls. Okay. So what parts of our hero's range is betting such a tiny amount on this card that obviously didn't help his range at all? No straights, no sets, no 2-pair, no overpair. He has top pair hands. Sure, why not bet those? Yeah, your opponent checked to you. Maybe you were hoping to check call and get some value out of the guy with another, like a double barrel bluff, but he didn't do it, so you're betting for value. Totally. Pocket pair below, don't have any. Mid pairs, all those random, the random 10s after your opponent shows weakness, he could be betting. And plus, think about that tiny sizing. 450 into, was it $4? 450 into $4 is a little over a third, so it's roughly a 40% bet. So yeah, mid pairs are in that. Weak pairs. Ace highs. Yep, ace highs could be making a bluff, so he could have done an in-position float on the flop and just hoping the opponent checks the turn, and then he makes a stab as a bluff. That's totally possible. Ace highs are doing that. Open-enders, gut shots. Wow, look at that. So we've put 100% of his range, not only his top pair, which could be going for some kind of value, but also all of his bluffs and you know, non-made hands are making this bet right here. Number of combos 158, so it went down a little bit because of the board. Now our villain, he is check calling a small amount, not check raising, not leading out. What is he check calling a small amount with? Straights are not as set. He's definitely not doing it with sets. I mean, that shouldn't scare him at all. He should be going for max value here. Should have double barreled, but if not double barreling, check raising should have been what he would do with sets. Even 2 pairs, screw that. He doesn't have any 2 pairs in his range. No, he doesn't have aces or kings now. There's no way. If he thought he was good on the flop with his 5/6 pot bet, he's got to think he's good on the turn again, and he's betting. Top pair time. Well, the 4 shouldn't scare him. If he thought he was good on the flop, he's good on the turn. Why not bet or even check raise here to charge your opponent for whatever kind of weird draw they might have? Whoops, wrong button, my bad. So on this top pair right here, let's say he does not have the strongest top pairs. Let's put the undercard kicker top pairs in his range. We'll do that. Because it's such a small bet, it shows so much weakness, he's got to think his top pairs are good, and maybe is only calling with those weaker top pairs. Okay, pocket pair below top, yep, totally check calling there. Mid pairs, yep, not wanting to give up. The 4 doesn't change anything. He thinks his random 10s are still good. Weak pairs, well, the 4 doesn't change anything. The weak pairs could feel that my opponent might just be bluffing, so I'll call that tiny bet. So we've got to keep the weak pairs in. Ace highs here. Well, a lot of those, so the weak pairs have some showdown equity. The ace highs still need to hit something. Now, some of these ace highs, as you can see, have gut shots. It's a rainbow board, so there's no flush draw available. But some of them might be calling down here, so we'll wait for that. We won't put just ace high in general. No made hand, we won't put those in his check calling range. Open enders, totally check calling. Gut shots, ace king jack, ace 5, ace 3. Yep, totally calling right there with, because he has some equity in the hand. He's hoping to river something. Overcards, sure, why not? Not wanting to give up. He still has 6 outs to a top pair hand, which currently beats any queen or 10, or even an open ender that his opponent is currently betting. Because an open ender is still jack high or even king high, and ace king beats that. So let's keep the overcards in the range. So we're looking at 67%, 243 combos. So now we get to do a little bit of narrowing of our opponent's range, taking him down from 510 to now 243. So half of his range is now gone with this turn really weak passive play, check calling a small bet. Oh, well, before we see that, so currently, now that we've done a little bit of narrowing of ranges, our hero's range with that bet right there has now back up to 55% equity. The villain, 45%. All right. 10 of hearts comes. Lovely card, pairing the board. 10 of hearts comes. Just on the strength of that card. Look at that. We're back to 50-50 again. Just based on the 10 of hearts come. Or actually, let's say 49.5. 10 of hearts. Our hero is at 49.5%. 51.5% equity here. So that 10 helped our villain just a little bit more because he has more 10s in his range. We're going down to 10-7 all the way through ace 10, 10-9. Our hero started with one less 10 and doesn't even have pocket 10s in that pre-flop range. 10-9, everything else is the same. But our villain has a few extra 10s with the 10-7 in the range. Great. So that 10, what is the action? A check? Ooh, now a larger bet. That's interesting. And Old Matt just calls here. Okay, so the 10 hit, paired the board. What is our hero suddenly waking up with a little bit more aggression with a bigger bet? 3 of a kind? Absolutely. Over pairs? Well, don't have any. Top pair hands. Are those really betting $5 into 7? I mean, that's increasing it from a third pot to 7 to like over 2/3 pot. You know why? No, he's not jumping up with, not with all the top pairs. Let's take a look here. He is not using this bet sizing unless he wants to rep a 10 and just try to bluff his opponent off. I guess it's possible. And still making it here. But he'd be betting for value with these top pair hands that aren't so strong. Is he even making this size with king queen? Because his opponent could have a 10 the whole way. And maybe he's betting half pot and then folding to a re-raise, right? So no, forget this. Let's take all these top pairs out of the range. No. This bet is just a straight bluff, or it's 3 of a kind or better that hit that 10. Ace highs, ace jack offsuit, missed the draw. The only way he can win is by bluffing. Is he really betting this much with his bluffs? Yeah, I think this is the one I want to look at. In position race. No. I want to look at the C betting stat right here. So bet in position, 74, 65, 36. So his bet in position on the river is only 36%. This guy is pretty darn honest. He could be throwing out the occasional bluff. But there's no like nut blockers. It's not like there's 3 to the flush and he has the ace of hearts. I hesitate to even put any of these ace highs in his range for such a big bet. All these Screw that. Let's narrow him down because of that size of the bet. Going passive on the turn, then aggressive on the river. He's got trips here. He hit 10s and he's hoping Old Matt pays him off. Yeah. Wow, so look at that. We got him down to just 34 hands. 24%. 24%, 34 combos. So we started him off with 436. So we got rid of more than 90% of his range based on his play right here. And his bet sizing, of course, is a big tell. And then Old Matt decides to just call. Okay, just call. So I mean, if he would have hit a 10 right here, he doesn't have a 10. He'd be re-raising, check raising, or actually possibly leading out, not wanting to miss out on value with a 10. So I don't see a 10 check calling. Even something as weak as like 10-7 here, I don't see it check calling. So 3 of a kind. 10-7 is the weakest. No, those aren't in his range. Overpairs doesn't have any. Top pair hands. Now, with the size of the bet and being scared of the river paired, he doesn't have a 10. He could be check calling, trying to keep the pot small, not throwing out a blocking bet, but check calling instead of betting and then getting raised, and not wanting to check fold the top pair. So those are in his range. Pocket pair below, if he thought he was good when he bet the flop, and he thought he was good when he check called the turn, there's only a couple 10s in the hero's range that could beat these second pair hands. So from his perspective, is he calling $5 with jacks? I don't think so. I think jacks are folding. I think weak pairs, man, unless you just put your opponent, I mean, these are all just straight bluff catchers. And all of a sudden, your opponent increased his sizing on the river, the final card. Nothing else can come to benefit you. Bluff catchers are folding, weak pairs folding, ace highs are folding, no made hands. I mean, yeah, they've all got to be folding here. Jacks might be the only thing that can call. But I'm going to say they're folding. Let's not put them on jacks. Okay, so now look at that. We've narrowed our opponent down from 27 combos. Holy cow. We narrowed him big time from 510 combos down to just 27 on this river. So let's see if we're right. What's he calling with? Oh, we see the ace. Yep, he had trips. Perfect. Makes sense. Ace. The heck? You're calling with an ace high hand? With a busted gut shot? With a busted backdoor gut shot straight draw? Holy cow. You're just a non-believer, huh? Wow, that is surprising, actually. I didn't make a note on this before. Wow. Okay, that is really interesting. So ace-10 offsuit is in our hero's range. You can see it right there, ace-10 offsuit. And ace-3 offsuit, let's see. That is, well, let's not do this. Ace-3 offsuit is an ace-high hand. Yeah, and we remove them on the river. Obviously, I mean, who's going to be calling with ace-high right here? Yeah, I am shocked by that. That is crazy. Opponents, I mean, he's an unknown. He could be a total calling station, and these stats could, now after playing with him, maybe his stats are like a 45, 17 player, 50-17, whatever. Super loose passive, fishy player, non-believing, thinking that ace high is going to win on this flop when your opponent decided to increase the bet sizing. I bet that small turn bet really got him to think that the opponent has nothing. Maybe he thought that he could be playing king jack, king 9 for an open ender or a gut shot, and his ace is good. I am so surprised. I'm folding that in a heartbeat on this river. What an interesting hand. Alrighty, y'all. Thank you very much for watching day 40 of 66 in a row. Come back next time for day 41, and I'll probably do another dual ranges, both ranges hand reading practice. Alrighty, y'all. Thank you very much.